Evening, I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're watching NewsX this Sunday. Our top focus this hour, while we were delighted to see the entire Bollywood brigade dressed in their very best at a recent bash to celebrate the holy festival of Ganesh Chaturthi, it left us awestruck with sari-clad actors and also got us thinking whether it's time to reinvent the traditional sari. In this modern day and age, we are leaving behind, or rather are we leaving behind our traditional robes in order to fit in to Western culture? That's the point to be pondered over, and that's the point we'll be looking at with our special panel. Joining us is Varija Bajaj, fashion designer. She's live with us in our studios. We also have Sanjana John, fashion designer, in our studios. Shana NC will also be joining us on the broadcast from Mumbai. She, of course, is also a well-known fashion designer. But first, I want to go to senior editor Lata Srinivasan, who is also joining us on the program. Lata, the big question is it time to reinvent the sari? Is it time to go back to the iconic Indian way of dressing in this era of westernization, where even actors are taking to Western outfits at international platforms and award functions? Seeing them in saris at this Ganesh Chaturthi festival has really left us wondering as to whether it's time to go back to that iconic, iconic drape of ours.
Yes, okay. There's actually a big dichotomy because on screen we hardly see these beautiful actresses wear the sari. But then just for these festive occasions, we get a glimpse of them in these gorgeous 6-yard weaves, when they come out looking really beautiful. But they don't wear them on screen. And I think a lot has to do with the kind of roles they play, the kind of characters that people want to see them.
Right. Okay. Well, Lata, stay with us. Let's also get in Varija Bajaj at this point now. Varija, what do you think of this entire debate that has broken out of whether it's time to go back to our Indian wear, whether it's time to possibly reinvent some of our Indian wear for wearing at stylish functions and look amazing like the stars are on the screen?
Uday, I would like to bring in 2 points here. One, fashion has forever been considered something very frivolous to be spoken about. But trying to look at the deeper side of fashion, it is actually a psychological expression of your own belief system. So, for example, if you dress up nicely to work, you don't wear crushed clothes, you have trimmed hair, you have trimmed nails, it projects that you can take good care about yourself and you will take good care of whatever projects and whatever responsibilities that you do. So similarly, fashion, the way, coming back to the subject of these women wearing saris, unfortunately over a period of time, saris have not been marketed well. So all the women who want to rather wear these beautiful saris, it is one of the most sexy outfits that India has, but sari somehow is being perceived as something regressive. It is being perceived as something orthodox with a close-minded approach because it is being adorned by the older generation. So even let's say if I get scripts for film, I would get a requirement wherein a sari is required but with a bikini blouse or with a halter to show that no, this woman is progressive. So I think somewhere we are losing out on how the sari needs to be marketed in the market. Yeah.
All right. Well, in fact, we're also opening it out to our viewers at this point. For those of you watching this program, if you want to call in and air your thoughts on this story, you can. Our numbers are flashing there on your screens. Go ahead and air your opinion live this evening on our program. If I can quickly go across to our first viewer. Kalpana Ravi is joining us from Mumbai. Kalpana, go ahead.
Good evening to you and to all your panelists. I really think sari is the most sexiest outfit one can ever have, and I really feel sorry when our heroines strut around in foreign award ceremonies wearing gowns and other things. Why can't you wear a sari? I can give you an example. I always wear a sari, and most people consider you to be very LS when they see you in a sari, and the whole attitude is, oh, you're wearing a sari. That's the attitude. So I think that mindset has to change, and this is one of the most beautiful garments one can ever wear. And you know, it hides all flaws. That's the most important thing. Whether you're fat, thin, whatever it is, the sari, well draped, well stitched blouse covers all your flaws and makes you look so beautiful and ethereal. And I really sometimes wonder, why can't these girls wear more of saris in when they do these foreign events and other stuff. They would stand out instead of, you know, being one among the crowd wearing a gown which everybody is wearing. Thank you.
Thank you,
so much.
Kalpana, for joining us with your opinion from Mumbai. Other viewers too, of course, can continue to call in. Our numbers are right there on your screens, right there at the bottom of your screens, in fact. Sanjana, John, if I can get you in at that point, is it time to make our sari sexy? Is it time to make Indian wear sexy and glamorous once again?
Honestly, Uday, I think our movie stars are doing a good job of making it sexy. Like Varja just said, you know, the bikini blouses, you know, I mean, there's no end to how sexually you can portray the sari. But there is a big difference between sexuality and sensuality. And I would prefer, coming from the culture that we are, I think it's important for us to retain our cultural values. Of course, portray yourself sensually versus sexually, because we are in a, you know, modern era of being projected globally as a very fashionable, I would say, culture today. But you don't have to go the Western route, nor do you have to go and turn around the way we think. We've always been, you know, I would say moderately conservative, and retaining that, yet making yourself presentable and acceptable to that, let's say, red carpet audience out there is important. And I think today, the more we see saris, especially in the Western arena, I think the more acceptable and the more validity, we are kind of endorsing that more so. And I think it is important that we do that in today's world.
Okay, Shana NC, if I can quickly join you in at this point. Shana NC also joining the broadcast. Firstly, good to hear your views on a non-political debate for a change. But China, you know, film stars, of course, are looked at as role models and they are trendsetters. And recently we've seen, of course, a trend of them wearing gowns or dresses, be it at film festivals like Cannes or at award functions as well. Is it perhaps time that they also start wearing the sari to market our Indian wear, to say that it looks glamorous? You can wear those 9 yards and also look very glamorous.
Uday, for starters, let me please say that this debate is completely up my alley, and I have been advocating the sari for over 27 years now, and not just on the national platform, I think on the international platform. Now, few points for starters. First, there is a difference between sexuality and vulgarity and versus sensuality and a certain kind of sensuousness. The sari is the most elegant ensemble. The problem is we need a Jemima Khan or a Sherry Blair or a Zandra Rhodes or the Bollywood stars to remind us that this is something that belongs to us. Now, how you turn term to interpret it, how you choose to drape it, the fact that I drape a sari in 54 styles is only because I want to show the younger generation that this is 6 yards of fabric that belongs to us, but it can be magically draped to look like that cocktail gown that you want. It saddens me when Indian film stars are wearing gowns of international designers and even Indian designers at the red carpet or at the Oscars, when they should be wearing a traditional sari and probably drape it differently or choose to accessorize it the way they like. I think it's important for us as a society and for India at large to not just limit this sari debate as a national costume, or is it trendy, or is it fashionable. We need to take collectively the sari to the international platform so that even international stars sport the sari as an option to an evening cocktail gown. And yes, as your viewers were saying, I must tell you that it is the only outfit in the world, or the garment in the world, or rather drape in the world, that can make a fat woman look thin and a thin woman look sensuous. Right. It has the, the magical aspect of camouflaging bulk and accentuating if you don't have any of it. So I really think it's unique, and I'm glad that it comes from India. It's one more contribution to the international
Absolutely.
forum.
Let's quickly get in another viewer now joining us on the broadcast. Shankar is calling in from Chennai. Shankar, go ahead.
Yes, first of all, let me say I enjoyed the a few points that Ms. Shaina brought out here. I just browsed and I saw this, and I'm reminded of how sarees used to be advertised and promoted and marketed earlier by companies, which I think is not being done now, and that is the problem. So I'll just leave you with this one advertisement line that Bondadine used to use long back, and you can know my age by that. It says, 6 meters of cloth can be a lot of mischief. And I think that kind of promotion of, for a saree is missing these days. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shankar, for joining us with your opinion there from Chennai. After all, you know, it can, of course, accentuate sensuality. Sushmita Sen did it in the film Main Hoon Na. So many others have also done it in iconic Bollywood movies. But there's this culture, Lata, if I can quickly come to you at this point, even in citizens' functions, you know, of course, award functions and film festivals is an entirely different ballgame. But even in, you know, weddings in India, even in parties in India, we're seeing a trend moving towards gowns and dresses. Even brides are wearing that. So this is an interesting trend which even the Aam Aadmi seems to have taken to, Lata. It isn't just the film stars. Yeah.
What happened is that, you know, people are starting to see sarees as very passé, because I think they're not seeing the innovativeness in sarees in the 6 yards. And I think it's up to the celebrities and fashion designers to show the Aam Aadmi, so to speak, as to what can be done with the saree innovatively today. Because everybody tends to ape their icons, what they see on screen. And they see all these beautiful women wearing dresses. And, you know, obviously they want to look like them, especially on their wedding day. And they tend to go in for such gowns and, you know, lehengas and anything which they see, you know, a Kareena Kapoor wearing or a Katrina Kaif wearing. And I think that's what's happening, unfortunately, today. And the saree is slowly taking a backseat, even at important events like weddings.
Okay, Shaina and C wanted to come in there.
Yeah. You know, just to add to that point, it saddens me when we have young brides who come to us and say that, oh, we want to wear a cocktail gown for our Sangeet. And I just look at them and say, why can't you think of draping the sari so differently that it gives you that look? And that's why I started this show all across the country, where I show youngsters and especially first-time sari wearers 17 innovative ways of draping a sari. Did you know that you can drape 2 saris? Do you know you can drape a sari on a ghagra? Do you know you can wear a sari on jeans or even tights? You can drape it around your neck and make it look like a cowl at the back, so it ends up looking like a western silhouette. You can do so much magic with 6 yards of fabric. And we as Indians sometimes tend to want Bollywood to inspire us. I think it should be the reverse. Let the entire designer fraternity inspire the international platform. Yeah. And you know, when you have international stars also wearing the sari and sporting the sari, you have international leaders. I think it's so important at special religious functions, at international award shows, where there is a lot of, catching attention. Yeah. It is important for us to sport something that belongs to India.
Absolutely.
And we talk about Make in India. This is the biggest contribution
this is a great example
Make in India, which is a tribute to the artisan, to the weaver, to the designer, and to the karigars of this country.
Indeed, indeed. And that's why, of course, Lata also was saying that it's perhaps time for even fashion designers to innovate on how to modernize the sari, not modernize wear, clothes, but possibly garments, Indian garments like the sari as well. I want to quickly get in another viewer now joining us before I come back to my studio guest. Sumati is calling in from Hyderabad. Remember, we've opened it out for our viewers who are watching on the broadcast. You can call us. Our numbers are flashing there on your screens if you want to share a thought. Sumati, joining us from Hyderabad. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes,
I heard Madam Shaina talk about the sari. If anyone wants to look elegant, sari is the best dress. And if the Indian young girls don't know, let them hear it from me that every man, Indian man, would love to see his girl friend in a sari with a nice bindi and he gets clothed. This is something many Indian young girls don't know about sari. It's the most beautiful dress to wear and
Absolutely.
flaunt around.
Absolutely.
And the variety we have and the different styles that we have in our country, right from Bengal to Kashmir up to Tamil Nadu. You just have
No,
to
that's a
explore.
valid point. That's a valid point you're making, Sumati, and thanks indeed for calling us there from Hyderabad. And I want to take that to Sanjana John. Sanjana, you know, as our viewer there was saying, a woman can look extremely beautiful, a young girlfriend can look extremely beautiful in a sari and a bindi. Perhaps this perception needs to change, that you're looking, you know, too Sanskari if you wear a sari and a bindi. You're looking a behenji if you wear a sari and a bindi, as some people say in colleges, you know, and workplaces. This perception needs to change amongst the youth as well. Sanjana.
See, I think Shaina has been doing a wonderful job over the years, because from the time I've seen, she has single-handedly taken up the sari culture and brought it up, revived it, reinvented it, and I think others should follow suit. And I've seen, you know, Shaina, of course, get people together to do that. But as she rightfully said, at the international functions, especially celebrities and stars who portray themselves or present themselves, when they start presenting the sari, that it is fashionable. The mindset will start changing. Secondly, of course, Bollywood, because as we all know, cinema it's our culture that we so totally blindly follow. Especially the youth, they adhere to it, they look up to it. So when the young movie stars can show that as fashionable, I think we'll get a lot of youngsters not feel that it's a Benji look, but it's something trendy, and it's something that I can also wear when they're going, even if it's a college too, you know, they can still wear that. So I think it's important as a collective effort to make it show that the sari is something very trendy.
Absolutely.
And it is fashionable.
No, that's a valid point. Let's quickly get in some more viewers joining us. Vishkam Lakar calling in from Pune. Go ahead. Okay, we seem to have lost that line to Vishkam Lakar, but we do have Rajpal joining us from Mumbai. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. It is a fact that sari is also very sexy and people look very graceful in this. It is not necessary that skin and skirt, people look sexy in that. I must tell you that sari is more graceful. Why not give preference to sari? I think this is the best thing that we can do, and it is just skin does not make a difference, and skirt also doesn't make difference. It is your look. When you look graceful, you look respectable. That is the thing.
Absolutely.
That is what we want.
That's a valid point, Rajpal. Thanks for joining us there from Mumbai. As our viewer there was saying, Varija, a sari can make you look respectful, but yet sexy. You know, and what Shaina was saying earlier is very important in this whole era of Make in India and this thrust by our government, our current government of the day. Sari is a great example on how we can actually pioneer Make in India to get people abroad to start ordering products from India. You know, Indian wear, saris, which of course have been adapted to Western sensibilities.
Absolutely, Uday, and I think that's where I started from. We need to market the sari. So since NewsX and Uday here has got all of us together and has taken this as an initiative, let's use this platform to put across to Smriti ji that instead of focusing on Make in India, I wear handloom, let's focus on hashtag I wear sari here forward.
Okay, that's an interesting point as well. It's time for perhaps the government, Shaina, and see we can draw out your politician hat now. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, I think trends are pretty much set by the common man. Yes, of course, you need top designers to also espouse the cause, celebrities like film stars to also wear saris much more than they oftenly do. But I think what we seem to forget is the heritage of India, whether it's the artisan, whether it's the weaver, the kind of magic, with 6 yards of fabric is something that is not seen in any part of the world or the globe. So we must understand that the drapes that we have are really, sometimes, I mean, I'd be happy on NewsX to actually show you just 17 ways of wearing a sari. It's magical the speed at which we can put it all together and for people to realize that this is something that belongs at home and we haven't even looked at it. you know, the sad part is in India, we always want to ape the West, which I don't think should be a trend in the current scenario, where we look at our foreign international stars and say, wow, if she's wearing a gown, why can't I? But we should say that look at them wearing the sari. A Liz Hurley wears a sari, a Sherry Blair wears a sari, a Jemima Khan has worn sari. So why shouldn't we have our own people do exactly the same, especially where India is being viewed as a brand? And for that, I think Bollywood has a huge role to play. I definitely request all our film stars and especially the younger lot to wear, even if it is a ready-to-wear sari, but to show that this is the magic that comes from India and this is brand India.
Absolutely, and who can of course forget that video of the British Prime Minister Theresa May wearing a sari to reach out to the Indian diaspora and the Indian public there. Lata Srinivasan, come in here. You of course track social media as well very closely. How are people online as well reacting to this entire sari debate? Or this Indian wear versus Western wear debate?
Well, it's a very interesting debate because most people on social media are youngsters, right? And at the same time, you have a lot of trolls. So when actresses are seen in dresses or short skirts, immediately you have the trolls jumping onto them and telling them to be more Sanskari. But young girls who are on social media love all kinds of attire. And I think, you know, right from wearing shorts to dresses to jeans and even a sari once in a while is something they're very open to. But I think it's just what their idols wear that, you know, they want to be seen in. They want to be seen in what's fashionable because it's a very peer pressure kind of situation. But I think they love seeing their idols dress up in saris. A recent picture of Deepika Padukone in a beautiful Sabyasachi, I think, went viral, in fact, on social media.
Indeed. Okay, let's quickly get in another viewer now. Joining us on the broadcast, Dr. Mahesh is calling in from Delhi. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening. Listen, sari is the best of Indian dresses. Number one. Number two, it is also the worst. Best because it looks fantastic occasion. Worst because it's not an all-weather dress. It's a dressy dress. And number three, which I hate, and all these women, you guess, know, where women do not use antiperspirant. So moment they raise your arm, the blouses are so soaked with sweat.
Okay. So it's not an all-weather outfit is what you're saying. Thank you, Dr. Mahesh, for joining us there from Delhi. There's a myth, Shaina, that you can perhaps bust. One of our viewers there saying it's a great dress because, you know, it looks perfect on all occasions, but it's not an all-weather dress. You can't perhaps wear it when it's too hot, or you can't perhaps wear it, he's saying, when it's too cold as well.
I completely disagree. I live in saris. I can assure you, if you get the hang of draping it, it takes 10 seconds to put on. You have such beautiful cottons in India which you can wear in the summer, which look fantastic even in humid weather and times. You can wear beautiful chiffons. If you want to wear something in the winter, you can wear silks. You can drape your shawl on top of it. You can have a shawl on one shoulder, which just adds as an added heat insulant for you. So I don't buy this logic. I think it's a question of awareness and it's a trend. Okay. Now, how many young girls die and suffer in those high heels and boots and all kinds of fancy footwear? Is that comfortable? It isn't, but women do it for fashion. So here you have the option of being a responsible Indian, and I think it's a good suggestion to start this hashtag NewsX should really do, which says that I love to wear saris, and really promote this on the international platform with every nice sari you're wearing. You can just post it on social media. If you drape it differently, you can post it on social media.
On the lines, of course, of cotton is cool.
We do so many such experiments. Yeah, and it's not just about cotton and pure fabrics. Even for the common woman who is working in a household or working in an office, traveling by train, there are such nice mixes of material which also come, which, you know, don't create.
So as you're saying, there are varieties, there are a lot of varieties, and of course a lot of fabric that people perhaps need to be more educated or informed about. And of course, for summers, there's sleeveless blouses. For winters, you have full sleeve blouses. So all sorts of different types are there. So sari is the way to go, if our panel is to be believed. And unfortunately, we're out of time, so I'm going to have to leave it at that. Thanks to our panelists for joining us on the broadcast. Thanks also to our viewers who called in. A quick break on that note.